Here we go. It's exam tips time for the June 26 exam sitting. I know you've been waiting for these. I've had so many students ask me about it this time. Now, this is a shortened version of my exam tips. The full version is available to those who are on my paid courses, and I give loads more tips there about what I think is coming up. But these are my best ones, and this is going to help you to prepare for the exam. Now, let's just get a caveat and a warning in first, though. Don't over-rely on these. I don't know what's coming up. I've got a reliable gut, but it is a gut feeling. Yeah, this is my hunch. I don't know for sure what's coming up. So you've got to be ready for anything, but these are my tips of what I think is coming up this time. Question 1, I think is going to have some classics in it, some old favourites. It's going to be a normal question 1, right? You're going to get at least one variant of question 1 is going to have business risks. The examiner loves to test business risks because it allows them to build commercial acumen in. It allows them to test that you can think a bit more widely. And my top tip for you for business risks is don't speculate too much. Try and base your risks very directly on what you're told in the scenario. Don't go too much from like thinking if or what could maybe happen. They'll tell you what's likely to happen in the scenario. So run with that from the company's perspective. Second on here, we're going to have ROMs, right? Guaranteed. Risk of material misstatement or audit risk, right? One of those two. They're pretty much the same question. But we haven't seen the new style ROMs question for a few exam sittings. So I'm expecting to see that now. And the new style ROMs question, that's where the examiner tells you what the risk of material misstatement is. They tell you that goodwill or intangible assets or something like that, that's been identified as a significant ROM. It's already been identified. Can you explain why it's been identified as a significant ROM? And that can throw some students. But try to just take a deep breath. If this is not quite what you wanted a normal ROMs question, or somewhere else in the exam you get asked something a little bit unexpected, well, actually, you do know how to do it. A new style ROMs question, you answer it in the same way as an old one. They've just done part of the job for you. Your job is still to explain why it's material. Your job is still to explain why any accounting treatment is incorrect, any management bias, any wider facts in the scenario that make you worried about this, and what precise accounts might be impacted. It's the same technique. It's just they've done part of the job for you. But it can really throw some students because it's a slightly different style of question. Don't let that be you. Next up, now the examiner's doing this a lot now. Principal audit procedures. Instead of just saying audit procedures, they say, give me the important main ones. And that's the examiner's way of saying, I'm not going to give you marks for discuss with management, review the board minutes, cast the schedule to make sure it adds up. You need to be a bit better than that. You need to find things that are really likely to be wrong in the scenario, specific facts, specific things that are likely to be wrong, and give me an audit procedure that's going to address that specific thing that's likely to be wrong. Focusing on things like judgement or other areas where there's potential for management bias. Your procedures need to focus where things are most likely to be wrong. The examiner does this question, principal procedures, as a way of testing that you really understand how to design a procedure to address risk. And then last of all, we haven't had one of these for a while. Instead of normal ethics, where you're given an ethical dilemma and asked for the ethical or professional, legal and ethical implications, or just the ethical implications, what I'm expecting to see this time is the examiner asking you a slightly more commercial, slightly wider question, where there is an ethical dilemma, but you have to say, what's the impact on the audit? And you have to think about things like staffing, or the timing of the audit, or the type of evidence we might be able to rely on. All of those sort of things would be implications for the audit. But you have to, if this comes up, you have to finish every point by saying, this is how it impacts the audit. And that's a good technique in any question. Finish off your point by saying how you're answering the question. Then on to section B. Now, traditionally, section B of the exam, we get a reporting question and a non-reporting question. Kind of one that's set at the completion phase and maybe one that's set at the fieldwork or doing phase. But increasingly in the exam, we're just seeing that both questions are set after the audit. as completion type questions, but with different things you're expected to do. Now, what I think, I've been tipping this for a while and it hasn't come up. It's really overdue for you to get a non-audit engagement that is related to fraud, where they give you the details of the fraud. They ask you what weaknesses and controls were there around this fraud that allowed it to happen. How could we improve our processes and systems? The examiner used to test this a lot, hasn't done it for a while. It's overdue. So if it does come up, I'll be pretty happy that I tipped that one. Quality management we're seeing in just about every exam now. This is where you are given some results of the audit procedures that we've done, and the audit will have been done badly, and you need to explain how it's been done badly, and you need to explain how those issues could be addressed, how and why it's been done badly, how to make it better. So you're reviewing audit work that's already been done. That's the most normal quality management question. Sometimes as well, this quality management question might be a matters and evidence type question. So what matters should we consider and what evidence should we obtain? And if it is a matters and evidence question, the matters to consider, you just have to run with the scenario. Whatever they give you in the scenario, those are the matters you should consider and you need to explain them. So it could be an accounting issue, something's been accounted for incorrectly, or an ethical issue, or it could be loads of different things, whatever is in the scenario. Then the examiner is testing it a lot. It's a high level skill to critically evaluate an audit report, rather than I've memorized the types of audit opinion and I'll tell you what's required for this question. Instead, they give you a poorly constructed audit report and ask you to say what's wrong with it, how could it be improved? And this type of question is testing high level skills, which is why the examiner is doing it more frequently. They've flagged that they can do it more frequently, and it didn't really come up in March, so I think it's sure to come up this time. Now, on my course, in my mocks this time, I put in a critically evaluating a draft audit report around material uncertainty over going concern paragraphs, particularly, because I think that is something that's very likely to come up. So those on my course have done a question just like this, but there are questions, if you work through the ACCA's practice platform questions, you will see questions like this. And last of all, didn't really come up in March, sustainability. It's the hot topic in accounting and auditing. And it's something that is going to become a bigger part of the AAA syllabus in the September 27 version of AAA. So it's big and hot, and it's becoming a bigger part of the syllabus when ACCA revamps. So it's going to be right at the front of the examiner's mind when they're writing exam questions. So I would say sustainability is very likely. You might be asked to review some KPIs. It might be an acceptance question where we are thinking of taking on a piece of, say, sustainability work, and there's some ethical implications around it. But could be that we're reviewing a sustainability report. Could be anything to do with sustainability. There's a really good technical article on the ACCA's website to read around sustainability. It's the one that's on the exposure draft. It's the most recent, the most recent technical article on sustainability. So make sure you go and read that one. And here are my hot tips. All right, somewhere across the exam, you will be tested on these things. Firstly, group accounting. The examiner loves it. It did come up in March, but it comes up pretty much every time. Group accounting and group audits. They're more complicated. There's more fun issues that the examiner can build into the scenario. Why wouldn't they build groups in? So make sure you're all over accounting for subsidiaries, associates, joint ventures, goodwill, all of that sort of stuff. Subsequent events, again, due to come up. And the examiner, again, has flagged it as something that students don't really understand very well. This is a financial reporting matter, really. But the auditing, you have to be on the front foot looking out for adjusting and non-adjusting events. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back over your SBR notes. Really hot tip for you. Make sure you are all over MURGC paragraphs, other matters paragraphs, and other information paragraphs, particularly other information paragraphs, because that can really easily come into a sustainability question to combine it with reporting. So these extra paragraphs in the audit report, the examiner tests them a lot. They very regularly test CAMs, and they very regularly test emphasis of matter paragraphs. The other ones that I listed out are the ones that are a bit more unusual. but that they haven't been tested for quite a while. So they are due to be seen in an exam question. But make sure you read up on your extra paragraphs in the audit report. Again, if you're on my course, you've got loads of resources to help you do that. We've got tricky topic tutorials on just those things, haven't we? So, just remains to say, best of luck for the exam. If you need help resitting in September or December because these tips almost got you there but didn't quite get you there, come and join one of my courses. I'll be happy to help you to pass next time.